Take two. Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode 132 of Australia's highest ranked photography podcast, the Down South Photo Show, with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia, and the guy on your other screen or in your other ear if you're listening to the show. It's Cam Blake in Hobart Town, Tasmania, Australia. Hello, Cameron.
Hello, Brendan.
Let's get that out of the way really quickly. This is take two of the intro.
I think this is the first ever take two.
Probably, yeah. A little bit tired.
You anyway. Look like your eyes look like wee holes in snow.
Well, it's what happens when you start a fitness regime. I think you get tired for the first bit of it, and then you come good. So hopefully, I do come good, and I'm not just one of those old buggers that just stays tired all the time now.
And by fitness regime, you mean you just had a haircut and look a bit thinner.
And drinking cider.
Cider, yeah.
Mercury cider again. We should get them to sponsor the show.
Maybe that would be good. We'd probably have to speak to all the other sponsors of the show to see if that was okay, though.
We should get the Bright Brewery to sponsor us.
Yeah, that could get dangerous.
It would be very good. Thanks to everyone who has followed the show, listened along, subscribed, all that sort of stuff, and shared it amongst your friends. Tell you, apparently, Cam, if people hit that like thing down there, it helps the algorithm or something. So what do you got to lose? Even if you don't subscribe, then you can hit the like thing. So go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Hey, funny thing about
if you like it,
if you like, I keep mentioning this guy on the show, and hopefully he's going to learn maybe. But our good friend Jamie, he hasn't subscribed to this show.
This is the third week in a row we've mentioned him.
Yeah, this one's the worst shout out of all time.
He doesn't subscribe.
Yeah, you know why?
Tell me.
Because he wants to be the 1,000th subscriber because he thinks he's going to win something.
Well, how is he going to be the 1,000th subscriber?
I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
Not the 866th subscriber.
I don't know. He thinks that he's going to wait to 999 subscribers and then be the 1,000th one.
Yeah. Don't mean to break this to you, Jamie, but we don't actually know what number subscriber anyone is. So.
No. So don't be like Jamie. Press the button and subscribe because that's what we want. Yeah,
then you'll get notified that we're here and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so
don't hang on for a prize that's not coming. Just press the button now.
That's right. But thank you for everyone who has followed along in this journey with us so far. Let's talk photography comp. We had the winter one is finally run and won and done and dusted. So we needed a new theme, and we're going to run this one through to the end of August. So you're going to have a couple of weeks to enter. And the only place you can enter is at this point, through our Facebook page. I can hear half of you moaning already that you're not on Facebook, but sorry, but that's where we do it. So head over to Facebook, search the Down South Photo Show. And by the time this goes to air, we'll have a pinned post at the top of our page that will say this month's theme. And Cameron, this month's theme is?
This month's theme is black and white.
So we're going to pay homage to the great Ansel Adams.
Ansel Adams. So black and white landscape photograph. Put it up there on the Down South Photo Show Facebook page. There'll be, like I said, there'll be a pinned post. So you put your photo under the comments and then you go through. And after the end of August, we'll go through and pick our top 10 together. We'll pick a winner out of that. That'll be a prize from me this time. And then what we'll do then for the month of September, we run the top 10 as your fan favorite that you choose. And at the end of September, we'll announce the winner of that, which will get a prize from Brendan.
Fantastic. So, the comps are awesome. It gives you a chance to show off your skills and for other people to see what kind of photography you're into or what kind of photographer you are. So go ahead, enter something that's black and white.
Go on, do it.
Go on. Head over there now. Well, not right now. Keep listening to the show and then do it after. I suppose you can do it now as well.
Can I just chuck in a real curveball for that? I don't know if we can actually do this, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Do it.
If you're not subscribed to the channel, you can't win.
Wow. I don't know if we can do that.
I don't know. Don't look through my bullshit. That's it. We know exactly who everyone is. If you're not subscribed and you win, you miss out on the big prize.
Yeah, that's right. Now. Those astute viewers will notice what's going on behind our shoulders. Did we do that thing again where we basically shot photos at the same time as each other? And
yep,
because it would have been.
We did. Well, all we do is this: you stand on one edge of Australia, I stand on the other, and we just shoot photos at each other.
That's right. And we ended up with very similar results. I want to talk a little. I mean, we've talked Aurora photography on this channel probably over maybe 9 or 10 different episodes over the journey. But the reason I wanted to sort of bring it up tonight, not only is it our background, so I'll show you my background first. This is Aurora Australis happening over, well, technically it's happening over Tasmania, but it's this is taken from the southern coast of Victoria, looking over Bass Strait. And just as I move my cursor out of my own way, the lights you can see in the distance is Torquay, which is a town further down the beach from where we are. But this is taken from 13th Beach, which is a beach between Ocean Grove and Torquay, pretty much, between Barwon Heads and Torquay, I should say. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this shot is because for once in ages, I dreamed up a shot and then went and took it.
You dreamed up a shot? What do you mean by that?
Well, I actually thought about it. I'm like,
oh, right. Okay.
I didn't just, with auroras, you can quite often just get excited and just go and then go, holy shit, I need a foreground. Well, good photographers put foregrounds in front of their aurora shots.
And then they go, holy shit, where's the aurora?
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, these steps, which I don't know if you've been to, Cam, but maybe on one of our one-day workshops we went there.
Yeah.
They're at the this thing keeps, there we go. They're at the western end of the first car park at 13th Beach there. And the steps sort of have a bit of a curve in them. And when you get off the curve, they face exactly south. So yeah, this is pretty much exactly the shot I had in mind. I also got a really cool vertical shot as well. For the people wanting to know the settings, that one, I believe, is around 1600 ISO. It's around about a 10-second exposure. And it was the first exposure I got that allowed me to see aurora once the sun had gone. So it was pretty early in the night. That was about, I want to say 6:50, 6:55, something like that.
So, well, you were much earlier than us.
Yeah. Well, I think since the May 11 big one that you took from an aeroplane and the whole world seemed to get photos of, we've kind of been a bit spoiled, haven't we? So,
well, I was talking to someone today about the auroras, and they made some interesting points about this year's auroras. So there was a G8 storm, I think it was, in April. Then there was that G9 one in May, the massive one you're talking about. And then the one that we're shooting here, that was another G8 one as well. So there's been three quite significant storms, I guess you could say, this year with auroras. So yeah, we are getting blessed, but we are in the sort of peak time of when all this jazz is going on. So so it's good. It's good. It's good that people are getting out there and shooting it. I found the moon, like we both messaged each other the other night, and the moon was really playing havoc with what we could see where we were. We had a bit of, not haze, but the moon was just lighting up stuff, and we just couldn't really see the beams as much as we'd like. And then it kicked off a bit, and then we saw them. But it was a tricky one.
Well, that's the reason why you can see that staircase, is that is pure moonlight there, folks. That's what a 8-second exposure at 1600 ISO will give you under moonlight.
Yeah. The moon was good. It sort of, like you said, it did help the foregrounds a bit.
Yeah.
I know some people were up till all hours of the night, and the moon had gone down by about 2 o'clock, I think. So, but yeah, it was good.
Well, by all accounts here in Victoria, and I've watched a few time lapses, at around 2:30 in the morning was when it climbed really high, and it also it gave me May 11 vibes. Like, it looked that good.
Yeah.
But I was sound asleep by that point.
Yeah, we were asleep. We went back to the hotel room, and I set the 5-star down. I'm like, oh, are we going to get up again and have a look? And, and then I looked over at him, and he was snoring. So I thought, I guess that's the answer.
Yes, so, that's right. Yeah.
So
I think you had a bit of cloud creep in as well, didn't you?
We did, yeah. So my little background here is of this same aurora, just only about 300 kilometers from where you were.
Yes.
And we were on our workshop at the beautiful Cradle Mountain. So once again, we have pulled this out of our rectum and got an aurora. This is 2 auroras over Cradle in 1 year. Unheard of. But yeah, you can see there's a bit of cloud that came in on the right. It was only light cloud, and then it came in a bit heavier around about 9:30. We decided to pull stumps there. People were getting a bit cold anyway. So, but we had beautiful conditions. There was about, I reckon there's about a dozen people down at the lake, all spread out, all different people that we didn't know taking photos. It was good. And we got those beams, and we got a bit of color, and it was a beautiful clear night, which was good. It was pretty cold. It was about -4 degrees with the wind chill. So that made it quite chilly. But we had 7 very, very happy little campers. It was the Cradle Mountain Winter Workshop with no snow, but we
Hmm.
substitute that out for a pretty big dam Aurora. So can't really complain about that. But
No, I'm sure most of the participants were absolutely
yeah,
thrilled.
yeah. So we were very lucky. It was great. Uh, yeah, there was. You might be able to see just behind me here on this rock here. There's a little
Hmm.
tiny light. To whoever that person was, you're in everyone's shot because your back of the screen was just showing back to us, and
Right.
every time we took a shot, the screen would come up, and then it'd go dark, and another shot would come up and go dark. So, but you know what? They got there, they got the shot. So yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, well, when were we there? Was it April? March? April.
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 No,
When we were there.
May. No, April.
You lose
This
track,
year.
don't you? This
Yeah,
year, yeah.
yeah.
When we were there and we got the Aurora, it was nowhere near as strong as
No.
we just had the other night. But we got different photos because my Cradle Mountain Aurora shot is way more silhouetted,
Mm.
whereas with the moonlight we had, yours
Yeah,
has
look at
got
that. Yeah.
beautiful detail in the mountains. So
Yeah, that really helped for that.
that's a win.
Um, yeah, and I wasn't shooting black and white only, so it made a huge difference on this trip.
Mm.
So yeah, we got that moon foreground to get Cradle Mountain and the Dolorite Peaks and stuff looking pretty cool. So
So
that
can
wasn't that
you
was a bonus. Oh,
share with the listeners
oh yes,
what camera you used and what your settings were for that one, or
of
just at
course.
least the camera?
The camera was the Leica
There you go.
because I'm a wanker and I have a Leica. So that was the Leica with a 21 mil on it.
Yeah.
Tripod. I ended up getting down to almost 800 ISO. So I was 800 ISO. I think it was about f2 and about 6 seconds is what I was getting.
Yeah.
And it was cranking. It was because the moon was just so bright. It was just, yeah, it was unreal. So, and most people were, yeah, somewhere floating between sort of 1600, 3200, 800, whatever it might be. So,
Yep.
but everyone got the shot in our group. So I was
Well,
really, really wrapped with that.
to give a bit of context, May 11 event, and it was an event. I was shooting 400 ISO for 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, otherwise I was overexposing the bloody Aurora.
Yeah, well, it really was a bit of a tricky couple of seconds to try and get that exposure
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But once you get it right, you're pretty good. That's what I said to our group. I said, all right, everyone's got the exposure. You're good now. So work on your compositions, work on your everything like that,
Yeah,
and away
and
you
I think
go.
that's an underrated skill in photography is remembering to get the settings right first and then working on composition,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
not fussing too much about changing settings from there on,
yeah,
particularly in a scenario like that where the light may change, but it's going to be very subtle changes, probably
yeah.
not even that don't even warrant changing
Well,
any of the
yeah.
settings. So
Any real increase in the exposure of the Aurora is seems to be minimal, but
yeah.
um, yeah, the moon was a bit tricky. But that explains the faster shutter speeds and
Yeah.
the faster or the slower ISO that we were using as well. So
Yeah, for sure. And for
yeah,
those who are playing along at home, I used the OM system OM5 with the 7 to 14 f2.8, which is now my go-to lens for anything astro related.
yes, you love that lens, don't you?
I do. It's nice. It's got a bit of weight about it too.
Yeah,
I feel like if I was mugged while I was doing these photos, I've got a pretty good weapon. I would
just give
wield that thing.
just give him a whack. So yeah, that was good.
While we're on the Cradle Mountain train and
Mm.
talking about your workshop that you had there last week, let's talk about point three on the list, shall we?
Yes,
Um,
let's do that.
yeah. So you had a bit of an experience, Cameron, with a photographer that probably wasn't as nice as they could be.
No, it was weird. It was a weird one. Anyway, here we go. Everyone's going, here we go. Cam's going to rant about something and carry on. Yeah, yeah, I am. I am going to rant on about carry on. So yeah, we were down at Cradle Mountain on one of our first mornings there, and this husband and wife team came down, and things aren't going well. Like we had ourselves set up along that little beach that's there in front of the boathouse. We weren't all spread out. We're all sort of, there was only a few of us there. There was a few others spread out around the region. And they walked down, and the first thing this female photographer looked at us and just, rolled her eyes at us. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be good, And I said, look, we're more than welcome to move out the way. If you want to slot in anywhere, just be fine. And I'm fine. And she stormed off. And the next minute, she's walked around the back of the boathouse and set her tripod up right in everyone's shot, looking back over us, over our head at the sunrise right behind us there. And everyone in my group was just like, oh, really? Like, seriously? So I just politely said to the husband, I said, oh, do you reckon she's going to stay there the whole time or just for a little bit, like just so we can get our shots for everyone get their shots and stuff? And he sort of ignored me. And then she came past and walked through the group and just walked everywhere, was taking photos everywhere, walking through people's shots. Had no care in the world about what we were doing. And I know it's everyone's spot. We have no more right than anyone else to be there, but there was just no etiquette. And then the next morning, we were both down there again, but they were there first before we got there. I believe they slept in their camper van in the car park, which is illegal to do anyway. And a couple of our customers came down with head torches on, and they got yelled at for head torches being on. But the cream on the top of all this was that once these guys got down there on the second morning, they had their shots set up again. This lady just literally walked into the water, the perfectly still, calm water with reflections, and just stood right in front of our group in the water in front between us and the boathouse. In her shoes, just rolled her pants up into. It was almost to say, "You're not getting any shots without me out of them in them. This is where I'm going." It was just really bad behavior, and like we weren't rude. We weren't. There was only like three of us at a time. We weren't taking up the whole place, but it was just really, really rude. And like you just want to say something to people, but like you also got to be careful, representing a company or business of mine, and you don't want to get the wrong idea. But geez, this woman was just, she was one out of the box. And she said she came here every year. She goes, I come here every year, and I've just got to get that one shot that I need. I want that one shot of cradle that I haven't got yet. This woman would have taken 40 compositions around the boathouse in 10 minutes. Like they were not stopping, they were going everywhere. So what I wanted to sort of say is that, what, our photographs are no more important than yours, and yours are no more important than ours. Like there's got to be some etiquette out there. And if you get to a spot that's one of the most popular spots to shoot in Australia, don't get shitty that people are already there. Like just work. Like we had other instances where we ran into people. We all made room. We all enjoyed the experience. We all enjoyed the beauty of what we we're doing. It only takes one sour grape to come down there and ruin it for everyone. And it's just not cool. And if whether you're taking photos or not, even if you just go on there to look, just be courteous to other people and don't be an asshole. That's pretty much the message there.
Yeah,
it was just really rude.
Yeah, that is a shame. And it sort of, in this day and age with social media and things, and I mean, you posted a photo. You didn't identify the person, to your credit.
No, I could have.
It was a long distance shot. You very well could have. It kind of surprises me that someone would do something like that. Like it's
and it wasn't like, oh, sorry guys, I just didn't anything. It was a blatant. Let's just go around. Like you guys are getting shot at the boathouse in really good conditions. I don't have the place to myself, so I'm just going to plonk myself in front of you and ruin yours. It was the most sour, grapey kind of behavior.
Pretty disgusting behavior. So don't be like that person, folks.
And if you are that person, if you are that person and you are listening to the show, you can unsubscribe yourself and go listen to another podcast, because they're not the kind of people we want in our photography world doing stuff. So many moments on this trip that we had in Crater Mountains, beautiful moments of just silence in the forest, or the morning after the aurora, we had this beautiful still morning. We had people spread out from Glacier Rock to the boathouse, all doing their own thing. They all came back and said that was just a great experience. I had my own place to myself, my own little space. Anyone that did walk past was all really friendly. Like it's a lovely experience.
Yeah.
And then you get that one person that comes down who thinks that they are more important than everyone else. And it ruins it. So I don't know who it was. I don't know if they were anyone of any status or if they were good at their photos or whatnot. But I was disgusted with the behavior, to the point, like I can say a few words when I want to, and I was very tempted to let both barrels loose. But yes, I did put them on internet, and I did put an arrow to them and call them an asshole.
Yep.
But I think the shoe fit.
Yep. No, fair enough. I mean, as I say, you got to call this stuff out, and just not good enough. Lift your game. Not good enough.
It is. It's just
you're bringing everyone down to your level, you scumbag. Anyway, that's enough of that.
That's a bit harsh, Brendan. I wouldn't have said that kind of stuff.
That's definitely not. That's right.
They were a dickhead, but they weren't a scumbag.
Anyway,
moving on.
the main topic for discussion tonight is I want to talk a little bit about picture framing, and in particular, people who might want to have their photography framed. Running a photo store like I do, Ocean Grove Camera and Photo, I get asked about framing all the time, and I sell frames where I am, of course. So I thought it'd be cool to give a few pointers to people who are looking to have their work framed. And I want to start with probably the number one bugbear of mine when it comes to people framing their artwork. You guys spend a lot of money on awesome cameras, and you guys, maybe come to one of our awesome workshops, or you go on a workshop, or you travel somewhere fantastic and you get a fantastic photo. You then get it printed beautifully, hopefully by someone like me, or, an independent photo printer, like who handles your colors professionally and all that sort of stuff. You then go to Kmart and buy a $20 frame, A1 $20 frame that's got Perspex in it, and then you stick it on your wall.
But isn't Perspex the best?
So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on a few points. First of all, Perspex is quite possibly the worst product man has ever invented, particularly for putting in front of your amazing photography.
Yeah.
Not least of all is its horrific properties when it comes to showing light and and quite often Perspex has got a color cast to it. Second of all, it can distort light. It's not glass, so it's plastic.
No. It's really good when it gets those little splits and scratches in it too.
Yeah,
It's
and
awesome.
the thing with Perspex is, if you try and clean Perspex, you scratch it instantly.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
a
that's
scratch.
right.
Dust scratches Perspex. So first thing I'd say is, if you get an amazing photo, take the time and spend the money to have it framed professionally if you can, or get yourself, at very least, a photo frame that's got glass in it. The other thing with glass, picture framing glass, is it will also give you a bit of UV protectant as well to your photo as well. Perspex does not do that. So yeah, getting real glass on your photo is a priority as well. And where at my business, we actually have Australian-made ready-made frames from the awesome company known as Profile Australia. Cam, you've used Profile products before.
Ka-ching, plug.
Yeah, that's right. They need to get on board, don't they?
Yep.
And what you'll find by using a more expensive frame and a better quality frame, first of all, it'll last a lot longer on your wall. They're designed to last for years, so it'll keep your image looking fantastic for years. Generally speaking, the quality of the frame itself, it's better made. The joins are better. The miters, as we call them, where your frame joins, they won't split open over time, or they won't become
swell and stuff
swell
like that,
and warp and that sort of stuff. That's right. To the point where it's actually quite funny. A lot of cheaper frames you buy online or at your big chain stores, not only are they not timber, they're not even plastic frames, the actual frame material. Quite often it's compressed sawdust or compressed cardboard with a veneer over the top of it.
Yeah.
And it is because you go to try and put a screw in to put a wire across the back, and it just crumbles.
Yeah.
So I would say, if you're going to the trouble of framing your picture, just be prepared to spend a few extra bucks and actually get it professionally done. Now, the other thing about framing as well is mat boards. Now, the mat board is the thing that you put around your frame, or around your photo in the frame. There's one. Cam's holding one now. That's a mat board. So the mat board serves a couple of purposes. One, it can look great and give you a color separation between your artwork and the actual frame itself. So it helps to frame the artwork. But more importantly, it actually has a practical sense, and that is it keeps the photo well back from the glass. So if your photo touches the glass, quite often it can bond to it, particularly under humid conditions. It can bond to it, and that's the end of your photo as well. So using a mat board can be really effective. All mat boards that are sold in Australia now have to be acid-free, so they won't discolor your artwork. However, backings, so the part that goes in the back of the frame, doesn't necessarily have to be acid-free. And quite often you will find companies using MDF, but a really cheap kind of MDF. And the chemicals that are in that MDF can also leach into your photo and discolor it.
So why
Yeah,
the hell would we go to the bother framing stuff if it's so hard?
that's right. It's this is the thing with, and I understand with, holiday snaps and a photo of your child or something that you might want to give to your parents or something like that. A small 6x4, maybe a 6x8, something like that.
Yeah.
I kind of understand why you would, maybe not spend so much money on the frame. What I'm getting at here is the bigger stuff. So,
Yeah.
when you're framing a beautiful landscape photo that you want to put on the wall to show off, please, please, please avoid your
Yeah.
big chain stores for their frames. They're just horrendous. I've actually heard stories of them literally falling off the wall in the middle of the night.
Yes. Things that go bang in the night.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
isn't it funny though? You mentioned something about, you're taking your photos and then you're putting them in a cheap frame and stuff like that. We had a bit of a chat on the Cradle Mountain workshop. Is people I think they seem to put their value spend back to front.
Yep.
So they go with, I'm going to buy the most expensive camera, and then I'm going to edit it through the most expensive software and laptop, and then I'm going to just put it online and not print it. Or if I do, I'm going to print it really cheaply and
Yep.
put it in a cheap ass frame.
Yep.
You've got to look at the whole thing. Like if you're going to spend all this money to get this beautiful photo of your holiday or where you are, and then just ruin it by putting it in a cheap frame with perspex and cheap backing and all that kind of stuff. It defeats the whole purpose of really what you're doing because it's going to destroy, like you said, it's going to deteriorate over time. Like it's artwork. It should be treated with care all the way through. So
Yeah, you'll be very disappointed with it down the
yeah,
track. It never ceases to amaze me. And look, for God's sake, I'm not talking about every one of your photos. I'm talking about the one or two shots that you get a year
yeah,
that you might.
the crackers.
Yeah, and I actually encourage people to do this. So I've got a few customers of mine that are very, very keen photographers, and they'll come in at a certain time of the year with their swag of photos, and they've narrowed it down to like a dozen images. And
Mm.
we'll sit there and we'll say, okay, and they, it's a bit embarrassing, but they ask my opinion, and they're like,
Wow.
what photos do you think would look good, printed and framed? And every 12 months, pretty much, they rotate their images and they
Yeah.
they put up new ones and take down old ones. Quite often, you can even recycle the frame
Mm.
if you've got a good quality frame, particularly profile frames, because they use what's called flexi points, so you can actually
Yeah.
take stuff out of the frame and put something new into it, um, and they'll last forever.
Yeah.
So a little bit of advice as well when it comes to framing, particularly bigger photos. My recommendation, the modern way to print photos now would be on a super matte finish. I
Uh-huh.
think it looks fantastic. The cotton rag papers and things like that we're using these days to give you a really, really matte finish, and then using either a museum quality glass or a non-reflective glass.
Yeah.
So there is a difference. So museum quality glass is this amazing gloss finish glass that has around about 80% glare reduction. So
Yeah.
reflection reduction, I should say. So it's great stuff. And again, yes, you pay a few bucks extra for it at your custom framer, but it'll last a lifetime. And it can really impact the look of your photos when you go down that path.
Yeah. It's the glass is a big one, isn't it? And
Yep.
like I've had a few things custom framed down here in Tassie at Full Gamut. I'll give them a plug. Full Gamut,
Yeah.
Simon Olding and the team down there. And you can get the museum glass or the cheaper glass or whatever it is. And I must admit, I always feel better when I get a nice shot and send it to a customer or for myself when it's got the better glass and it just looks cleaner, it looks crisper. It
Does.
looks like it should be in a frame with that glass on it. So yeah, I think it's important to know what to look for when you're framing. Otherwise, like you said, you get disappointed.
Yeah.
Um, how bad would it be if you had this beautiful shot of something and it falls off the bloody wall, or
Yeah.
it sticks to the glass, and like you said, or
Yeah.
the acid backing starts burning through the photo or something like that. It
Yeah.
just takes away from the whole process.
It does. All of which I have seen at camera and photo. Quite often,
Yeah,
people come in with stuff that they've had framed or they've framed themselves.
yeah,
Um, it always Look, I mean, and I would always encourage people who want to start doing markets and things and selling their photography. I'd
yeah.
never discourage that, but it always does give me a bit of a chuckle when I see the kind of frames that they're using.
Yes,
They're just doing themselves a massive disservice by putting them in those frames, because you're going to have customers buy that stuff, and they're
yes,
going to come back to you when the frame falls apart, because that's what happens. So
yeah,
unfortunately, folks, you got to spend a bit of coin
yeah,
to get things done properly. And just going back to profile frames, they are without a shadow of a doubt the best ready-made frame in the country. So if you've got a local, I think you can go to profile.com.au and find out where all the stores are. I'm listed on there. So
Yeah, there's a few. There's a few
yeah,
around.
yeah, there are. Most of the camera houses, I think, carry profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're made in Sydney, and they are, yeah, Australian made. So, which is great. So you're supporting a local business as well. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're cheap. They're not. They're good quality frames that you pay the right
Yeah.
price for. So
Yeah.
just bear all that in mind. If you've got any questions about framing your photos, by all means, leave them in
I've
the
got a
comments. Yes,
question.
Cameron, you've got your hand up. So I'm assuming you
I
got a
got a
question.
question. What if I just want to go buy like a Samsung picture frame TV? Would you recommend one of them?
They have their
Have you?
place.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I know a good friend of the show, Chelsea, has one, and it's a TV by night and a frame by day type of thing.
Yep.
I don't think they're such a bad idea. I think they're pretty cool. They look very suave and
Yeah.
very cool.
They've actually got a really nice matte finish about them, and there, I
Yeah.
believe, there's actually a filter you can put on, which is matte boards around it as well, and an
Well,
actual frame.
yeah, it does. It actually looks like I've seen one, like I said, I've seen Chelsea's one and others in stores. They look quite cool. So
I do.
they are not cheap, but if you're someone who loves to display your work in your home, it
Mm.
wouldn't be such a bad option if you had something above the fireplace or on the wall there. You know, it might cost you a couple of $1,000 for this frame TV thing, but it doubles up as a TV. So have it on your wall in your
Yeah.
kitchen or something like that. But you know, it can filter through your images and stuff like that. They are pretty cool. It does put Brendan's framing business out of business,
That's
but
totally fine.
yeah,
One thing I didn't mention off the top was, and we're talking about frames with glass.
yeah,
Um, the first thing I ask people, so quite often people come in with the photo they want framed. The first thing I ask them is, do you have a lot of daylight in your room? So that where you want to put it, do you get a lot of
yeah,
natural light coming in? If the answer is yes, and in particular that the wall that they want to put their artwork on faces a bank of windows or a big open, I quite often then would encourage people to go down the canvas path rather than the framed behind glass path,
yeah,
mainly for the non-glare effect.
yeah,
So if you've got a framed picture with glass during the day, quite often you'll see a beautiful reflection of your lounge room or yourself
yeah.
instead
How
of
good's
seeing
that?
your instead of
Yeah,
seeing your wonderful photo.
yeah,
So that's why, because canvas is just an ultra matte finish, there's no reflection whatsoever,
yeah,
and you let the photo do the talking all the time. And
yeah,
then, of course, there's the hybrid where you've got a framed canvas, which is what we do a lot of at Camera and Photo, where we leave a 5 mil shadow line and we put a beautiful timber frame around the edge of your canvas, which can just,
yeah,
I love that look. It's been available for quite some time now, but it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. I think the trend is here to stay.
yeah,
I think it's a great finish. You can get like beautiful timber look finishes, or you can get a black, like a charcoal finish or a
yeah.
whitewash finish, and been doing those for quite some time now, and they really do look fantastic.
Yeah. I wish I could get one of those one day.
Yeah, I think there's a guy making you one.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ellen. Anyway,
Ellen.
we'll move on.
Right out.
Now, point two on the list, Cam, I think we will have a look at.
You reckon we got time for that?
I wasn't sure we were going to, but
Right.
we should mention it.
Yeah,
By the
cool.
way, if you have any questions about framing, as I said, by all means, hit us up in the comments below. Give us a call at the store. Hit us an email, smoke signals, Facebook, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You had a client on your trip shooting film.
Yes. Yeah. Rob, who is a newbie. He's a first-time customer of mine.
Hi, Rob.
Yeah. Hi, Rob. I told him about the show. He didn't seem too impressed about it, but you know, maybe he'll listen.
It's not everyone's cup of tea.
It's not everyone's cup of tea. No. But I'll tell you what, he hit the jackpot. He got three sunrises and three sunsets and a roar at Cradle on his first go. So
Maybe he's the
he
lucky charm.
maybe he can get stuffed. He's not making any friends if he's going to keep doing that. So he had a great time and lovely guy. We got a lot of laughs out of him. But he rocked up. He emailed me before the workshop and said, "Cam, is it okay if I just shoot film the entire workshop?" And I said, "That's a great idea. If you're capable of doing that and you wanted to give it a crack, then by all means." But he came on our workshop for the 5 days. He had a little point and shoot Fuji digital just for a couple of happy steps, but I reckon he shot about 30 rolls of film.
Fantastic.
He had a Hasselblad with the 120 size film. And
Wow.
he also had a Leica 35mm M3, which is an old school one. Um, but he was just so cool to watch. Like he knew his stuff, he knew what he was doing. He didn't need much help off me or Dan, just compositions and stuff like that. But he went through the whole week shooting, and it was so funny. Like everyone had come back to the car after we'd done this bit. How'd you go? How'd you go? And everyone look at Rob. How'd you go? He goes, I don't know.
That's
Like
right.
I think I did all right. I
And
think
I
I got
won't
the
know for a week or two.
yeah, I think I got the exposure right. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I thought it'd be a good topic to talk about. Can you shoot film and still get great results? Well, of course you can,
Yes.
like because the technology hasn't changed from 30, 40 years ago when people were getting great images with film. But it was just great to see this person shoot film everywhere. And I tell you what, he didn't muck around with his compositions and he didn't muck around with his timing. I must admit, like he did something on this trip, and I went, all right, this guy's bloody good.
He
He
knows his
uh
stuff.
he got a shot on his Hasselblad of a wombat walking through the button grass eating. Like he set up that quick and set it up and got it all done and he just went, just snap, rewind, snap, wind, snap. And I'm like, that's pretty impressive. So
Hmm.
shout out to Rob. He's a Melbourne boy. He's from
He
Melbourne.
forgot to put film in his camera, but that's okay.
That's right. Yes, and his battery. We had a great chat. Like I did my degree in science photography, and we did a lot of stuff. Everything was on film. But we're having lunch at the lodge one day, and he rolled over and he's from one table to the other. He goes, "Mate, do you know what the reciprocity failure rate is for Kodak 200 gold?" I'm like, "Shit, no." And
Yeah.
he said, "What's?" I got the chart, and I'm like, "Oh, all right." And I said, "I reckon it looks like it's maybe 6 to 8 seconds, maybe." And he goes, "I'll have a look." And he googled it. We weren't far off together. We sort of worked it out, but
Yep.
it was like, "Oh no, like this is not something you get asked every day." And
No, no, that's right.
yeah,
It's going to
yeah.
challenge you.
No, so for those who don't know, reciprocity failure is when the chemicals start to fall apart on the film after being exposed too long. It can put casts over your shots, and you need to know where that cliff edge is before you go past it. Otherwise, your shots get a funny sort of look to them. But
And
yeah,
for the second week in a row, I'm going to mention Nick Carver because he did a full episode on his YouTube channel about reciprocity failure.
right.
And in some instances, actually using it to his advantage
Well, yeah,
was
it can create some funky stuff,
that's right. Yeah,
especially if
yeah.
you're doing fluoro lighting and different types of lighting in your shot can help.
Mm.
But it was really cool. Like I said, shout out to Rob, really lovely guy, and he said he had a great time. He's actually a muso. He plays guitar. He's a good friend of Luke, who's another friend of mine who I do the hiking with. But yeah, it was really lovely to have someone new on the trip, and
Yeah,
someone who just rocked up with a bag full of gear and said, "All right, where am I going?" It was very cool. It's very
that is
cool.
great. And isn't
Uh,
the word reciprocity just a ripper?
it's the only big photography word that rolls off my tongue. Okay, I think.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get a T-shirt that says "Reciprocity failure is not an option."
See, so it's
Yeah.
reciprocity. Is it only related? It's not only just related to photography, is it?
Oh, I would have thought. Oh, yeah, it might not be. It could be a more general term,
Yeah, it's got to be like a failing term or a.
failing of chemistry or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Cam, but I would have thought that reciprocity mainly relates to photography. So that's very
Uh,
cool that you had a person shooting film on
hmm,
your workshop. Very, very cool.
yeah.
I would love to shoot more film, but I just don't seem to be able to. I just don't, how, imagine shooting the Aurora on film.
Well, that's what we said. That's what we were trying to work out if he could or not.
Ah, right. That was hence the
He only
reciprocity issue.
yeah, because he only had I think the fastest he had was 400.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, but we were getting like about 6 seconds. So, but he ended up shooting on the Fuji. He had the X Pro one, X100 V2, the same one
So
I've
he still
got.
managed to get some good shots.
He got some good shots. He only had a 35mm film on that.
Yep.
Yeah. So reciprocity is the equal or state of being reciprocal, mutual dependence, action, or influence. A mutual
Oh, okay. Yeah.
exchange.
So it goes beyond just photography. Of course it does.
Yeah, of
Yep.
course. Who would have thought the world goes beyond photography?
Come on. Surely not.
No, but it
Um,
was very cool. So,
Brilliant. Dear
yes,
Cam.
yes, yes. Let's go. Hit me
uh,
up.
Dear Cam, this is from SJE, is it not?
It might be.
Thank you, Sarah, as she's
I'm assuming it
called
is.
herself there.
Long time listener,
Um,
first time question asker.
I like this. Hi, guys. Not sure if this has already been asked, but I have a Dear Cam question.
So hang on, stop for a sec. I love the fact that you call her SJE. I love
I
it.
just see it, and
Yeah,
that's got to be her name
yeah.
forevermore.
SJE. Yeah,
SJE.
it's like Darren.
Yes, it is Daz. Yes, who I'm
Yes,
sure is watching.
yes.
Got to get that canvas sorted out for you, Shaz.
Yeah,
Daz.
yes.
Um, Dickham, what is the best option for selling any pre-laved? How am I going? Pretty
You're
tired.
going
Can't cut that
great.
out. Let's just keep rolling.
No,
What is
no,
the best option?
let's start again. Let's
Yeah,
do the
all the
intro
whole
again.
thing.
Yeah. Well,
What
hello,
is the
everyone.
hello everyone? What is the best option for selling any pre-loved camera gear you have accumulated? And don't you accumulate it? That's exactly what you do is you
Yes.
accumulate camera gear. It's like golf
Well,
gear for me. I accumulate and bike gear. My God. Um, thanks, Sarah.
SJE.
SJE.
Yep.
Long time listener, first time question asker. Well, we love first time question askers here on the
Yeah.
Down South Photo Show.
We love
So,
long time
Cam,
listeners. Long time.
absolutely. Cam, what should SJE be doing
Well,
with
I
any
know what
pre-loved camera gear?
I know why SJE is asking this question.
What has SJE got to sell me?
No, she has got gas. That's what she's got. And
Mm-hmm.
she's got FOMO because she wants to buy the new R5. And now what she's trying to do is figure out the best way to get rid of her other R5, the Mark 1, I
Mm-hmm.
assume, or Mark 2, whichever mark they're up to in the Canon wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's trying to get a little bit of inside information on how she can flog her gear off. Or maybe she's trying to say, read my question out so everyone knows I've got an R5 for sale, and
Well,
she might be able to sell it through the show. But
mission
uh,
accomplished.
yes, so what is the best option for selling pre-loved gear? There's a couple of options now. One that seems to be probably the most favorable for most people at the moment is Facebook Marketplace.
Seems to be.
That seems to be pretty good. You could always trade it in if you want to. That's something else. If you don't want to go play the long game of trying to sell it and answering all the questions from everyone else about how many frames it's had and how many times did you drop it and all that kind of stuff, you could maybe trade it in. Um, or the other option would be eBay or something like that. Some stores do consignment as well, where you could put it in there for consignment, and once it sells, you get the cash. But I
Yep.
think for me, the best option lately has been Facebook Marketplace. That seems to be the
Yeah.
one that gets a pretty quick and good outcome. Yeah.
The the photographer you had that was comp stomping you in Cradle.
Yes. Yes.
I put them on about the same level as scammers on Facebook Marketplace.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Be
just
careful.
be careful because of late, I've actually stopped following a few of the, secondhand cameras Australia or whatever they're called,
Yeah.
cameras and lenses Australia or whatever, because the level of scams that are
Right.
coming through, it's thick and fast. I mean, I saw the
Right.
same post for a Sony A7R Mark IV on
Yeah.
4 different sites with the same photos with 4 different names.
Ah. So you're looking through like swap and sell
Yeah, those
groups of
sort of
Facebook?
yes,
Yeah, so yeah, they are full of scams.
they are.
But the marketplace itself is sort of separate in a way. It's a separate
Yeah, that's
entity of
generally a little better. Yeah,
that's generally, but yeah. So don't try and I agree. I've had issues with the Fuji groups and the Leica groups and stuff like that. I had some guy try and scam me. I sold my old GFX 100 to him. He was in England, this guy, and did it all, packed it. I had photos of everything. I stated quite accurately the state it was in, the whole lot, and I sent it to him. And then he got on this group and just like ridiculed me and said I was scamming him. And the one thing that got him was the lens hood had a scratch on it,
yep.
and that he wanted all his money back. I'm like, no. He goes, you pay for postage all the way back. Or what he tried to do was get a discount. He goes, well, you give me $1,000 back. And I said,
Nice
no,
try,
no.
buddy.
I said, you can send it back. It's all through PayPal. So you send it back and we'll cancel the whole transaction when you get it back. And he disappeared. But yeah, be careful of that. But um, most of the time, I reckon as well, if you've got Canon gear, which I'm pretty sure SGE does, you should be able to offload that pretty quick, even just around the groups of stuff. So
Yeah,
if anyone's looking for a new Canon, I think it might be an R5. Uh, Put a comment on our Facebook page, or if Sarah wants to chuck it up there for sale, and now I'm sure we can help her out because she is a long time listener, first time question asker.
that's right. Great. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's a fairly obvious answer, but
Hmm.
and I don't think there is any sort of go-to page or go-to website for selling secondhand gear. I know
Yeah.
in the UK, there's a company called, I think it's MPB. They quite often sponsor Thomas Heaton and James Popsis and these guys, and where you can actually go and list your gear. I'm not sure if there's a place like that in Australia. There should be.
You can do KEH, which is another mob. K for kilo, E for echo, H for Harry. They do trade-ins, and they do it all. You actually have an appointment with the person online like this. They say, show us the gear, and they go, oh, that's the lens, and that's what it looks like. And they go, okay, we'll give you whatever for that. And then they send, I think they also send you the packing slips and all that kind of stuff as well.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
yeah, they've been around for years. We used to use them at Adam Moore, and I used to use them at Camera House many moons ago. So
hello, Adam. I'm sure he watches.
Oh, definitely.
Be rude if you didn't really. Right. So if you have a Dear Cam question for us, please hit us up in the comments below. Send it to us via email. Cam, your email address is?
My email address is cam @tazphoto.com.au.
Or if you want to send it to me, it's contact@cameraandphoto.com.au. That's contact@cameraandphoto.com.au.
What I'm finding is that most people who send the Dear Cams in, Brendan, they're sending them via the website.
Yep, and which you can do as well.
Which is great. We actually had another Dear Cam question. See, this is what you've done now. You've created
a monster.
You've created a precedent, because our good friend Peter from South Australia sent through another Dear Cam question today.
Oh.
And it's another doozy. It's a good one.
Okay.
But we might hold off on that one for maybe a few episodes ahead.
Coming to an episode near you soon.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Now, with regards to dsps.com.au, I put out a post today on Facebook to go and check out our workshops for 2025. We've almost closed out all 4 of our workshops in terms of scheduling.
Yes.
The Great Ocean Road workshop has had about 14 changes of date, but that's fine.
So here's the 15th.
We had a little clash with the Festival of Running. Basically, the Great Ocean Road Marathon was on at the same time we wanted to run the workshop, and that was an oversight on my behalf. We have corrected that,
which is bloody rude of them to do that. To be honest,
how dare they allow 10,000 people to descend on Apollo Bay? But we have tidied that up, and we will have pretty much the whole of Apollo Bay to ourselves by the time we get there. So,
and what are the new dates, Brendan?
I have no idea.
I knew you were crapping on.
Thank you.
May 19 to May 23 is new dates.
Correct.
We have sold a couple of spots already on that. So we have 6 spots left now on that one.
Yes, absolutely.
And,
still, I think personally the best workshop tour I've been involved in running. That Great Ocean Road in May this year was an absolute banger, one out of the box. So
you're saying our Tarkon to Cradle one wasn't as good, that we're running later next year?
Outstanding. It's a close second.
Right. Okay.
Close.
So
actually, they're all as good as each other.
And the Murray Mallee one, that's not good either.
Close third.
All right. And the East Coast of Tassie one that we're not doing now, or we are doing, I don't know.
That we haven't done yet. So keep an eye out for the Bay of Fires Freycinet.
You know what we should do? We should get a PA.
We should. I can be that person. No, I can't.
No, together we don't even make the P bit out of P and A.
That's right. We're not even close to the A bit either.
No, we're not.
Cam, what's in your future for the coming week?
In the future coming weeks, I'd like to say thank you to Mel for doing a beer donation.
Good save. Well done.
This could be your sloppiest episode yet, I think.
No, last week was.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, no, this is a way up on last week. This is big improvement. But thanks, Mel, for another beer donation.
Mel H. Mel is coming on my macro workshop very soon. Are you going to see him up in Bright?
I will see Mel next week.
Okay.
But I see him the day before he heads your way, I believe.
Right. Okay. So Mel's coming down now. Our workshop finishes in Sheffield. So Mel's kindly offered to wear a short skirt and walk along the Bass Highway with his thumb out to get a lift back to Launceston hitchhiking to save us having to drive him back. So if you are listening and you're in Tassie, look out for a grown man in a skirt walking the Bass Highway. If that'll probably be Mel. So pick him up.
He buys you beer.
He buys you beer. That's right. Yeah.
Just do it. That's right.
Yes. Just pick him up. What are we doing? This show's gone to absolute shit.
Poor Mel. So Cam, what's coming up other than the beer donation readings?
That is, what have I got? I'm back over to the west coast of Tassie just this weekend to do the last of the steam train workshop.
Very cool.
So Lisa and the kids are going to come over. I might try and sneak them into the Steam Train show, which would be pretty cool. They will love that. So we're going to do a little quick getaway over to the weekend and do that. And then next week, the wonderful Cheryl flies in from WA to start doing our macro workshop, which is next weekend after that. And then a little bit of a break and off to the Tarkine, and then a little bit of a break, and then we're getting on a jet plane and doing some crazy stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Super exciting.
What about you? Are you going to plug the Bellarine one-day workshops in your next week?
dsps.com.au. Hit up our Bellarine one-day workshops happening January 17 and 18, 2025. Now, I'm got 2 workshops myself running this week. So I've got one tomorrow night, my world famous entry, which is now 2 nights ago when this goes out, but last night when this goes out, my entry-level workshop, which I love doing because I generally get some newbies and we get them hooked on photography. So kind of feel like I'm a bit of a drug dealer. I get them hooked on the good stuff, and then they keep coming back and printing photos with me and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. I think the entry-level workshop is the best couple of hours I spend during a week, because, as I say, I get to see people's eyes light up when they work out what they can achieve with their cameras. And then on Sunday, I have my landscapes and seascapes workshop running yet again, which I really enjoy as well. That's a 4-hour workshop I do down here in sunny Ocean Grove. And hasn't the weather been amazing, just by the way?
Oh, we got back to Hobart last night. It was 21 degrees at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Crazy town.
Oh, I tell you what, the seasons are absolutely confused by all buggery.
It's only a matter of time before it goes freezing cold again, and you'll probably get snow. So,
well, I was talking to Cheryl tonight, and she said it's freezing in Perth, WA.
Damn, well, we get all our weather from that way, don't we?
Yeah. So the cherry blossoms out, the wattle's out. Makes no sense. Makes no sense.
Crazy times.
Yeah.
I think that's it for this podcast, Cameron.
Do you know what episode it was?
132. I just looked at the screen.
Yeah, I knew you were going to struggle, I think. You need to go get some sleep, mate. You've had a big day.
And yes, I will. That's it. That's the podcast. Thanks for listening to episode 132 of the Down South Photo Show. We will see you for episode 133 next week. Bye for now.
Catch you later. Bye.